hi, hello, how are you? I'm Pian. Today I'm going to be doing my end of year book tag. I love a book tag. I haven't done one in so long, but I have like a good time keeping up with these, and I really like especially these like end of year, mid-year kind of check-ins to let you know how my reading's going and let you know what I'm looking forward to reading, what I've read. This is a slightly different variation on like the end of year book tag that like I know and love that I've done for years. Okay, the first question is, are there any books that you need to finish by the end of the year? Now, you would know that I'm a mood reader, so I pick up books and I'm like, ooh, this is good, this is funky, this is fresh, and then I'm like, oh wait, I'm a little bit bored, let me go over to something else. So I stop and start books all the time. If you follow me on Goodreads, you will know. So I'm always in the middle of like 10 different things. Now, am I actively reading any of those things? No. The only thing that I can think of that I'm not like actively reading that I'm gonna like literally finish like this week, if not today, is The Way of Kings. I started The Way of Kings a year ago maybe, and I really liked it. I like was enjoying my time, but I wasn't in a fantasy mood. I am, ironically enough, in a fantasy mood right now. It's something about winter and fall and winter and that kind of transition time. I might have to start from the beginning, to be honest, because I don't remember what was going on. But I got like 30% into this, and I would really love to pick it back up and start it again. How I'm gonna do that, you know, it's like a 1,000-page book. Like, how I'm gonna do, I don't know. Don't ask me how realistic this goal is, but it is probably the only thing that I would say that like I've started and I would like to finish in the near future. Cause like other things that I've started and stopped like are just like I'm on the verge of a DNF and I'm like, do I wanna? I don't. The next question is, do you have an autumnal or spring book to transition into the end of the year? Now, I picked out a few books that I think give me like autumn vibes, and like technically until like the 20th or maybe the 21st. We are still in autumn, which I don't agree with. There are some like autumnally books that give me autumn vibes that I still would like to read. The first is All the Young Dudes. This is probably the biggest fanfiction that I know of, and probably the one that I am most likely to read. I have another fanfiction on this list, which is actually kind of bananas. I don't read a lot of fanfiction, and I do get recommended a lot, and I see it on my feed and stuff, but this is probably the one that most interests me. If you don't know what about it, it's the Marauders book. It's like, I don't know actually how long it spans, but I know it's like mostly set in the 70s when all the hoes are going to Hogwarts and they're like meeting each other and like, you know, like Harry's parents and whatever. It's a Harry Potter fanfiction. We know this, right? Okay. And it's like 1,000 pages, but I've always kind of been a little bit drawn to it, and I really support fanfiction, especially of such a like, I mean, this one's super popular, and this is one that gives me like those fall vibes, but I definitely think could be like a good transitional book, and it's like 1,000 pages, so I really want to read it. Maybe I'll do a video on it. I actually have a video that I've been working on for a really long time that I could put this into if we want to see me reading it. Another one of those is Seasonal Fears. This is the kind of companion sequel to Middle Game. Read Middle Game last year? Year before? Oh my god. Time doesn't make sense. Like 2019 is about to be 4 years ago and I'm not ready to process it. I loved Middle Game when I read it, and this is kind of like a companion to it. I can't remember what like I've heard of it like from reviewers and stuff, but I mean, it does look very fall to me, does it not? Kind of like wanted to look at like my most anticipated releases for the year and kind of go over what I haven't read yet. I've read most of them, but this is on that list that I was really excited when it came out, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So see, I feel like anything I say about the series is gonna be a spoiler. It's about twins and kind of powers. That's about all you'll get. And the last like transitional book I think would be really good for me, again, is another fantasy. Who am I? I know I film in front of mostly my fantasy shelves. Not a big fantasy reader, I'm not. I would really love to read Wise Man's Fear. This is the sequel to The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Name of the Wind is one of my favorite fantasies of all time, and I recently reread it in August. So I would really love to like go on to the sequel, because I have been putting off the sequel because I don't know when the series is gonna end. Like there's no end in sight. So that's like a little bit upsetting to me. So adore this world and the storytelling and the just magic system and the characters so much that I really do miss it, and like I said, it's like one of my favorite fantasies of all time, so I really just need to read it because I know I'm gonna probably like it a lot. That is one I will probably pick up the audiobook for it. I know I'm really gonna enjoy this book and I just need to get to it. I'm a horrible person at sequels. I'm such a standalone girly. Series are just really intimidating for me, and especially unfinished series. So I want to get to this. I would love to listen to the audiobook because it has some really great like storytelling elements to it and some like musical elements that I really enjoy. I need to do it. It's like 48 hours long. The next question is there a new release that you're still waiting for? It's late in the game. It's December, y'all. So there's really nothing. There were some end of November releases that were coming out, but like I'm kind of out of new releases, which is fine. I'm looking forward to the 2023 releases, and I will have a most anticipated releases video coming for you soon. The fourth question is, what are 3 books you still want to read by the end of the year? Now, there are many books I want to read by the end of the year, but I take a really weird approach to the end of the year. Like I said, like there's like sequels and long books and kind of like books that I've been putting off that I like to read at the end of the year, and I also love rereading at the end of the year. I think it's a common thing, okay? Like it's not just me. There aren't a lot of like new things I want to read, read, but I did pull out something is nonfiction that I would really like to read is cultish. Love a nonfiction. And I really like learning about like cults. Just kind of like, I think there's a very interesting kind of distortion of the mind that goes on in cult-like settings that I find very fascinating. And I would love to learn more about that. I think there are so many kind of like micro cults and like things that might not be recognized as cults that I could know more about. I love like cult documentaries and stuff like that. I find that stuff really interesting, and I've heard really good things about this nonfiction, so I'm excited to read that. And then the last one is If This Gets Out. This I think it came out at the end of last year, and I really would love to get to it. This is a like boy band romance. It is male, and it just gives all of the Larry vibes. This year I kind of separated myself from the Larry culture. It has such like a nostalgia for me that I really love, and like whether or not you leave and like who cares? Like public figures' personal lives are none of our business. But I do find it interesting how people again like psychoanalyze these like micro interactions between people. Like I find that very interesting and like create a whole like fandom based on it. So this is not about fandom culture, but it seems very like, you know, Harry Styles, Lily Tomlinson kind of vibe. I just really like got excited about reading it, and then it kind of fell off my radar for a while. As you know, I took a break from reading YA contemporary because I was writing my book that's YA contemporary, so I haven't read a lot of that this year. I would really love to get to this. Question number 5 is there a book that you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Now, I had a book on this list because I like pre-plan, pre-film, I do all of that, and I had a book on this list, and I think it's actually going to be on my top 10 list of the year, but I read it. So one is Sex Cult Nun. Again, I love nonfiction. I love things about cults. Here we go. This is about a woman who was in a cult, and it's kind of her telling her story. So I'm very interested in reading this, and I don't know if there are going to be nonfiction on my top 10 of the year. I definitely have to refine that list as we're nearing the end of the year. I do think that I've heard like just such great reviews of the way the story is told and also the content of the story that I think it could possibly be up there. Another one, I feel like this is the most accurate way I could answer this question, and that is if I reread this book and end up changing my review of it, and that is Tender as the Flesh. I read this and loved it. I mean, it's fucking crazy. I read this and really, I feel like I couldn't love it because it's like gross. But anyway, I read this, gave it 4 stars, but I think upon reread, I might give it 5 stars, and it might be one of my favorites of the year. I think about this book constantly. It has affected the way I see things and the way I like experience and interact with the world. And I feel like it should be on my top 10 list of the year, but I think I need to reread it in order to like solidify that place. So for me, like a reread at the end of the year for like trying to figure out what the contenders are for the top 10 list makes the most sense to me. So I think upon reread, this could shock me and become one of my favorite books of the year. Number 6 is, have you already started making reading plans for 2023? My reading plans are kind of always the same, like my reading goals. As far as number wise, my goal for 2022 was 175 books, which I believe is I'm gonna complete. Maybe we'll go for 200. I don't think I need like a big number change in my goal. I always say like I want to read more classics, I want to read more nonfiction, I want to read more things outside of my comfort zone. You know, I want to read more diversely, I want to read more from like indigenous authors and authors of color, and I want to read more from like people from different backgrounds than me and from different countries, and translated work. Those are kind of all goals like I'm always carrying forth in my reading because I just think that I should always be conscious of that. So that's kind of my goals. They're never going to change because I think that they're always important too. Keep in mind. Extra questions that I found are there any series you want to finish by the end of the year? Now, the first one here is a fan fiction series, and this is called James Potter. Now this is following, it's kind of like the opposite of All the Young Dudes because it's after Harry Potter. It's after the Harry Potter series, and it's following James Potter. I have read 3 of these books. I believe there are 5, and I would love to finish them because I have a video on them that I started in like March or April, and I forgot about. I didn't forget about it. I just like can't read a series. I don't know how to do it. I took a break from it, and it's been a long break, but I would love to finish it because I had so much fun. I think the author did a really great job. I think it's like G. Norman Liphart or something like that. He did a really good job of like capturing the magic and the essence of the Harry Potter series while bringing in new characters and new elements and things like that. I really enjoyed. So I would love to finish it. I have 2 more books left. I have the audiobooks, I have the books downloaded. The other series is like the bane of my existence. It's my entire brand, but it's the Anne of Green Gables series. This is the one I'm on, Anne of Angleside. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay, so this is number 6, right? Would we be interested in a 6, 7, and 8 reading vlog? Let me know, because I was doing individual reading vlogs for these. I was doing like a whole book club thing. None of that ended up working out, okay? We have to move on. But I do love Anne of Green Gables. It's my favorite book. It's my favorite series. It's my favorite thing in the world. I'd love to finish this. I would love to just like say I've read them because I'm such a fake fan. I have like no like ethos to be like, I've read all of them, you know? I would love to do that. Other than that, I don't read series. Fuck series. I don't like them. Oh, are there any authors you want to try before the end of the year? I really like this question. Oh, I didn't even look at it. Lynn Painter, young adult and adult kind of contemporary romance author. I have seen nothing but praise for her works. Specifically, I am planning on reading Better Than the Movies. I was like, what? Better Than the Movies. This is a book that I just think I'm gonna love. Oh wait, I should have put this on my list before because I might actually just like adore this book. I kind of forgot I put it on my TBR. I think I'm gonna adore this book, and like I said, I haven't been reading a lot of YA contemporary romance or YA contemporaries because my book is a YA contemporary and I didn't want to get distracted. When I was writing that, I couldn't focus on that. So I didn't read a lot of YA contemporary this year, and it's my favorite genre, probably. So she has that one. She has like lots of like some adult romances too. And I really feel like we could vibe, and I'm very excited, especially like Better Than the Movies. Like it felt like especially like too similar to, I don't know. I just like I don't know what else I want to read. Those are the books that I'm hoping to read and finish for the end of the year. Let me know any of your answers to these questions in the comments down below, or if you've read any of the books that I talked about. I would love to know. As always, make sure to like and subscribe to all the things, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!